Hi, Harry is not here. I am currently have been asked to do his one show and bring on some very interesting guests when it comes to business in the Philippines. Many of the businesses here have been really increasing, but a lot of it actually has been done by younger people. And my guest today, Michael from Wingman and John from Ube, actually are part of that crowd. They're really young thinkers. They don't have a lot of things in their background that prohibit them from even thinking of the wildest ideas. Um, with that, Mike, buffalo wings are very popular. In Chicago, Denver, you go all over the place, and we're actually pretty critical about
Right.
whether wings taste good
Yes.
or not. And we will avoid places that have horrible wings. I don't
Definitely.
care. I don't care. There was a time when people said that Hooters had the best wings, and after a while, I said no, they don't, and I stopped going. And it didn't really matter, to your point, that they had 36 C's on staff.
Right.
It really just wasn't enough to bring me to the wings. But you, on the other hand, came to the Philippines, and wings really are not a staple diet of Filipinos. They like drumsticks. They don't even like chicken breasts. So for you to say, wings, that's going to be something that's going to work here. Tell me more about that and how you jumped into that.
Okay, so this is what happened. As a nightlife promoter in the States, we usually go home at 4 or 5 in the morning or get out of the clubs, in the late nights. And then I always would post on Facebook, eating wings. And then my best friend here was like, you got to stop doing this. I said, why? It's like, there are no good wings in the Philippines. Well, I said, well, let's open one. I'm going to see you in 2 months. Let's open it. He's like, okay. And he started looking for locations. And he found a location. And as soon as I got here, we went to look at it. It's like, let's sign the papers. Let's go.
Yeah, it's an interesting location because I would have never thought of putting a restaurant there because parking is very difficult in that particular corner. And you can tell them the location, but oddly enough, because of your wings are so American, I mean, they're nice and spicy, and then you put a cold draft of beer on there, it's like the perfect thing for the afternoon. Tell me how you looked at that location, and then tell me in your mind what kind of clientele, what kind of customers. We use the market jingo here called ABCD, right?
Right.
A being like the Lexus and the Rolls Royce drivers, and B is a little bit lower down, and then C is your Hyundai. Don't get me wrong, I also drove a Hyundai in America, but then it goes lower and lower down to a bicycle or to flip flops. But when you looked at that restaurant, you said, you know what, I'm going to get a lot of X type people here. Tell me that thought pattern, and then what made that a success.
Well, being new to Philippines, I think in most business startups, you shouldn't go for the full 100%, spend all your money, drop everything you have into one project. So we invested a certain amount of money that we were willing to risk as our first restaurant project.
Okay.
And so we started small. We started in a location that didn't have high rent. We started in a location that had a lot of drive-by traffic. It was not in a nice mall. It was in a warehouse that was transformed. It's called The Collective, where we had about 15 other business entrepreneurs decide to come in. The owner of the lot decided to give it to us, lease it to us, and we would renovate it. And we created about 15, 16 stores.
And what street is that in?
It's on the one-way part of Maluga in Makati,
That's right.
near Cash and Carry.
Yep.
So every hour you have hundreds of cars drive by.
Yeah.
So since we were in the storefront, we had a lot of free marketing.
Yeah.
And then even though we don't have a lot of designated parkings, we are able to have our clients park on the street, which is a huge plus because you just park on the side and you just get out of your car, and it's less than a 10-second walk to the front of our
That is true.
restaurant,
That is true.
which makes it really convenient, actually.
So did you do any sort of mass media to advertise? You didn't go on commercials, you didn't do papers, right? What did you do? Guerrilla tactics? Or
Well, I
what?
was very good at meeting new people. I was very good at engaging the customers, asking for feedback, getting to know them, asking what they did, and these people eventually loved the wings. They loved the food. It's the quality that counts.
Yeah.
And then also to have an owner who's proactive, meaning he's actually there, who cares about the business, who engages the customer, asks them questions. You ask them if you have any big birthday parties, any Christmas parties come up, give me a call, I'll take care of you. Things like that. Then suddenly I met people in the radio industry. They give me free plugs, send them some free wings. Then we got some people who are in the entertainment business. So their Instagram or Facebook posts really helped, the social media.
Social media was really helpful.
Yes, it was.
John, do you find that with your particular clientele being in Australia, is social media effective there? I mean, how does your product get the exposure needed, no pun intended, for these 36 and up size lingeries and bikinis?
Only to a certain point, given that my friend's company already has a huge reach to these kinds of women, using the social media just to educate them that these products exist. It's a great help for sales.
Now, are you able to, is this just one city, or are you going to jump into different cities for?
Oh, right now it's being sold in both in Perth and Queensland, and they're hoping to expand in New South Wales and Victoria within the next few months.
Now, you're one of the few people I know, entrepreneur-wise, that actually does international trade. Many people stay within the Philippines, but in international trade, what kind of hurdles do you find, if any, and what kind of basically assistance do you get from either the government or other traders that help you actually land in cities such as Perth, and then when they want to expand, land in other cities in Australia? What hurdles and what assistance can you find for international trade?
The hurdles will always be, getting the products from here to there, and having them, manufacturing them, and government assistance.
Is there sort of difficulties with able to export items? I mean, I know. I'll give you one instance. I have clients, and the minimum is 1 million pesos for an alternative investment overseas in Canada.
Sure.
It is very difficult. There's always someone trying to stop them. Legally, they cannot. But there's always someone trying to say, you need to fill out 10 pages of this, that, and the other. Do you find that it's a lot easier exporting, your clothing line than it is for my clients to actually send 4 million pesos outside the country?
Well, I find it easier because my friends fly in here regularly from Australia, and they would always add extra luggage for the airline they're flying on. And rather than having it sent through, the local couriers, they would just put it in their luggage.
Okay.
Easier that way.
So we're talking about medical clinics that need only so much boxes a month, and so
Yes.
you're able to provide it in that quantity. But when you go up to a warehouse full, you're going to have to figure out how to get that.
Yeah, because
transition.
the clients get them directly here,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Now you're also thinking of manufacturing in China,
yes.
which is another international trade step. I mean, how did you get contacts in China for production and manufacturing? Exactly what does a person do to say, you know what, I want to produce this clothing line in China?
Well,
So where do I start?
First, you need to have your own designs. Then you go over the website, present these designs, and if they can produce it, they would give you a call, and then they would ask you to go there eventually to be able to for you to be able to pick those fabrics and patterns that you want, make some alterations, do some improvements.
So you can actually find them on the internet.
Yes.
Is it a trade place on the internet, or did you just Google it?
Oh, it is a trade place.
Trade place, okay.
A very famous trade place.
Okay. I know that one of our friends actually is also thinking of importing metals from China, but that's very difficult. He's finding it, the government change for this coming election is actually going to affect him. When you go bigger, that's the nice thing about being an entrepreneur. I think we're so far below the radar when we start
Yes.
that no one pays attention to us. It's just when you get bigger, I think you'll have to do a lot of
Hiding.
friendship. You say hiding, I say friendship. It's one of the two things that are going to happen. Friendships, I think, will give easy access, whereas, like I said before, when you're small, it's not that difficult to be unnoticed, right?
Right.
Now, for me, I'm an alternative funding person, and one of the things I wanted to ask, actually, you guys are what we call private equity. Traditional investment, the stockbrokers, they mess. Their package is basically bonds, stocks and trading thereof of derivatives and such instruments. Now, when you say alternative investments, you're basically talking about everything from private equity that backs up businesses like yours, and in return, their payment is either of shares in your company and or basically strict payment scheme with a balloon at the end. Now, with me, I look for alternative investments for my clients all the time. John, you actually brought up one that is like with John Legend. You
Yeah.
can actually invest in a John Legend concert if it was, let's just pick a different one. Let's just say if Taylor Swift was coming back. You know
Sure.
that's a 100% sellout, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you can find funders so that she can have her escrow. What kind of escrow is someone like Taylor Swift wanting before she even steps into the country? What kind of cost is that?
Good question. But
I'm going to guess it's about $2 million US.
for Taylor Swift, it cost more.
More, yeah.
Yes.
So that's the kind of funding they're going to have. But you actually say that, what are the terms for funding someone like Taylor or John Legend?
To be able to be a sponsor, with these producers and a partner with these event organizers. Let's say you put in 25 grand
US, 25,000.
US, 25, yeah, 25 US, and you would get a monthly return of 2% until 2% returns when the ticket sale starts until after a month of the concert.
So you get 2% like 2 months before the concert.
Yeah.
Per month.
Per month.
And then another 2% after the concert's over.
Yes.
Wow, so you're getting 6% in 3 months.
6 to 8%.
6 to 8% in 3 months.
Depending on the artists.
Right, right. But that's a pretty good return.
Yes.
And then if you have someone that's A class, someone that's top of the line tier, that's pretty much a shoe-in. I don't think you're going to have to worry about selling out a crowd.
Yes.
Okay. How about on your side of the world? If you were to look for investors, would it be your friends? Would it be family abroad? What kind of private equity would you pull in order for you to expand businesses here in the Philippines?
First would be friends.
Friends.
Over the years, when you develop a relationship with your friends, you see each other grow with each other. And when you see someone successful, a lot of times people want to say, hey, next time you have a project, can I get on it? And so when you do something big, they have your back. So for me, I think that's a really easy way to get quick funding without doing a lot of paperwork.
Right.
Another way is, I also do investments as well. I find investments as well to invest in. And you meet friends as well. You see friends, for example, I got a friend who just approached me yesterday. Had lunch with him, introduced me to his construction projects. I was able to see him with a whole list of at least 20, 30 projects already done in the last 2 years. And so he's working on new projects, building high-end condos.
How old is this friend, just out of curiosity?
He's only 35.
He's only 35, young and just like us.
Yeah, he's 35. And what he does is he asks for a set amount of investment, or whatever you're comfortable with, and he guarantees you pretty much a return on that. We're looking at anywhere from 10 to 12% in 6 months.
Wow,
That's
10 to 12%.
That's a pretty good return, yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, these beta cycles are a little bit higher than something like when I put mortgages together.
Right.
Because those are against $1 million developments. You can guarantee they're going to pay you back. But these are good things to know, especially when you're starting out. We're going to take another commercial break, and we'll be back talking more about entrepreneurs, young men of business here in the Philippines, and a lot more. Thank you.